Hi everyone! So today is day 5 of the FND series, and please first off excuse how I look. It is incredibly hot here today, and I am struggling with the heat quite a lot. So yeah, please excuse my appearance, but we are going to battle on regardless. So today we are going to be talking about mobility aids and using them when you have FND. I know this is a topic that divides a lot of people, but I'm going to be giving my opinion on it, and feel free to disagree, but it's certainly what's worked for me. So obviously what you decide to use, if anything, when you have FND will very much depend on what symptoms you have, and as we've discussed in previous videos, those symptoms can be very varied, and as well as the symptoms being varied, the severity of the symptoms you have can be very different between different people. It can be different for the same person on different days. So what works for one person might not work for another. I went through a progression of using various mobility aids, both before I developed FND, because as I'm going to be discussing in 2 days' time, I do have a number of other conditions going on in the background. But also because I wanted to try and stay as mobile as possible for as long as possible, and it was a journey for me. So to give you some idea, initially before I had FND, I used 2 walking poles. I do not have those with me anymore because I don't find that they are really any use at all given the state of my balancing issues that I have now, but I will try and put a picture up here so you can see the kind of thing I'm talking about. People who are able-bodied use them as like Nordic walking poles, that kind of style. So I used those for a number of years before I got FND. When I developed FND initially, I tried to just continue using those. However, the reality was that it was not providing me with any help to my balance, and I did fall over and hurt myself on more than one occasion. And at that point, when I realised that this wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, it was decided that I would go and get a rollator. So there are loads of different rollators that you can get out there. The one that I got was 4 wheels, again to help with the stability. It also meant it had a seat, because even though I could walk a little way with it, I still needed to sit down quite frequently, and I couldn't stand for very long, like stationary stand for very long. And that worked quite well to get me initially out of the house. So from being pretty much sofa/bed bound to being able to go out a little bit. But what I was finding was that my walking would deteriorate really quickly, even with a rollator. And I worked super hard on my walking. I got to the point where I could walk a reasonable distance with my rollator, but then I would pay for it. I wouldn't be able to do anything at all for the next week. So although it was giving me some freedom and some mobility, it wasn't giving me quality of life. And I think this is something that a lot of people overlook, and they feel like if they get a mobility aid that they are somehow giving up in some way. And that's how I felt initially, and that's why I put off taking the various steps that I did. So I used poles for a really long time before I got a rollator. I used a rollator for a fairly long time before I got my first wheelchair. And the reality of FND is that although there is some treatment options out there, even if you're lucky enough to be in the right areas that you will get access to those treatment options, the wait list is a very long time. So I had my first consultation over the phone 2 weeks ago now with the specialists in Queen's Square, which is the National Neurology Hospital here in the UK. And that is a year and a half after my first onset of symptoms. So the reality of it is that you are left to your own devices to a certain degree whilst you're waiting for that help. And I think it's better, in my opinion, to have a good quality of life in that time than be housebound. So for me, I now use a active user wheelchair. So a lot of people think all wheelchairs are the same, people who are not in the disability community. They are not all the same. So something that's really important to realise if you're thinking of going down this journey is there are the types of wheelchairs that you see people being given in hospitals. And then there are these super lightweight wheelchairs that are used by people who have long-term disabilities that want to continue living an active lifestyle and be as independent as possible. For me, now with my wheelchair, I am able to live by myself. I am able to go shopping. I am able to actually go to the gym multiple times a week. This is a little controversial for some. I know the consultant that I spoke to deemed that my wheelchair was an avoidance strategy to avoid dealing with my symptoms. And I understand where they are coming from to a certain degree, but by having a wheelchair, I'm able to have quality of life. I'm able to get out, I'm able to do things, I'm able to participate in sports, I'm able to go to the shops, and I can do these things on a regular basis without them becoming bedbound. And I know using mobility devices or aids, especially wheelchairs, can be a big step, but I think you have to make your own judgment. The way I put it is, well, I tried working on my symptoms by myself and tried to treat myself, and I still didn't have quality of life. So rather than waiting for, we've had a year and a half in my case, and it's going to be another 9 months before I get to go and see them for rehab that may help, I deem that even if I make a full recovery to the point where I'm non-symptomatic after my rehab, I would have been waiting for over 2 years, and in that time I think it's important to still have a good quality of life, and as such I think using mobility devices forms part of that. So the specific wheelchair that I have is a Quickie Helium. It isn't the right one for me at the moment because I got an ex-demo. The reason for that is that I couldn't afford to buy one new, and I desperately wanted to get out the house. So I was very lucky that my granddad was able to help fund to get me an ex-demo chair, and then I have adapted it slightly in the fact that it does have different push rims on there because my grip strength is so bad from my FND that I was really struggling to push, and also when I was pushing, because of my hypermobility that we all talk about, I was dislocating my thumbs, so I was having to wear thumb splints and gloves just to be able to get around a little bit with my chair. So there are adaptations that you can make even to your chair to make it better suited for you. If you would like to know more about my wheelchair, I did do the wheelchair tag video that was going around YouTube last month, so I'll link that up somewhere and in the description below. I will end up doing more videos on that in the future, especially seeing as hopefully I'm going to be getting one that is better fitted to me, but we will see. And then in addition to my chair, I also do have a pair of smart crutches. So that's what these are here. I'll try and put another picture in. So they come in lots of funky colours, which is great. The reason I have those is that my parents' house has stairs and my bedroom was upstairs, and I was struggling with steps. So really I can't get up and down steps safely, certainly not without crutches, and with crutches I can do it, but it's not super safe still, not gonna lie, and I avoid that at all costs because of the safety aspect of it. However, the crutches do allow me to do that in situations where it is necessary, but for me, I'm still not able to get around well enough with crutches to be using them full time. So I hope today's video has been useful for those of you who have been diagnosed with FND. Remember, at the end of the day, you've got to do what is right for you, and only you can decide that. The reality with FND is this is a long process, and it might be that you don't get intervention for a long time, and you deserve quality of life. You do not deserve to be bedbound or housebound, okay? Now, yeah, for those of you who don't have FND and just happened across this video, hi! I hope this has been interesting for you as well. A lot of these points apply to other medical conditions too, I'm sure, and stick around because not all of my videos are about FND. So we are currently working our way through the FND series. We're up to day 5, so we've got 2 more days to go, and then I also have lots of other fun videos planned for the rest of this month. I am back riding again, and I've got lots of exciting news in that department. So yeah, keep tuned, subscribe so that you know when these videos come out, and comment down below if you've got any questions or any thoughts on what I have been discussing today. Bye!